Y'all don't know what I went through.
Do you have a card in your hands right now?
Nike Talk was that place that spiraled what you enjoy now.
Anyone who brought a Kobe shoe in, I would clean it for free.
Man, Melo was better than a lot of people in the league.
I saw that. My favorite jersey is that one, the Barkley.
Kobe fours.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 48. This is the Dandon and RJ Machismo podcast. This is Dandon. My co-host RJ Machismo will not be here tonight, but he did say it was up to everybody. So tonight we got episode 48. So we're 2 episodes away for episode 50. We appreciate everybody's support for taking the time to listen to us. So tonight we got the homie Marc Papyrzca. So he is from Chicago, Illinois, and he is a sneaker and vintage sports apparel and pop culture collector. How are you doing tonight, Marc?
I'm doing awesome. Yeah, pop culture, you nailed it. Like, I'm not into like deep dives or anything like that. I like face value, pop culture.
Definitely, yeah, and we'll definitely we'll definitely dive into more about the pop culture and the things that you like that you surrounded on and what you like. So, a little icebreaker about yourself, Marc. Tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, Marc. I've been in Chicago for coming up on 40 years. Chicago sports fan from day one. My dad is ultimate homer for Chicago and passed that on a lot of me. Not as big of a homer as he is. I like to take things a little bit more objectively at times, but just really into Chicago sports. Got a wife, two beautiful daughters. We take up most of my time trying to teach them a lot about sports, and they're into their things, but they know Michael Jordan, which we'll be talking about a lot today, and it warms my heart that they know who he is. They can spot him, and at 3 and 6 years old, and they care, and they know that dad likes him. So that's the most important thing.
That's dope. So does your daughters know that you collect sneakers and you collect certain things like vintage apparel and pop culture? Do they have an idea of like what you collect in your spare time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they're really into it. Especially like the sneakers. They have a few nice pairs themselves, and actually my older daughter even did a YouTube video a couple months ago, her own YouTube video about her new dunks. She got some pretty sweet looking Nike dunks, and did her own YouTube video about that. So that was pretty fun.
Wow.
We tried to work on it beforehand, and we actually walked away from the camera, and she just started filming herself, and it was like, okay, that was really good. Let's just run with that. We're not gonna, try to force anything. That was really good. Good job. And kind of just cut it up and put it together and put it out there.
Wow, that's dope. Yeah, I mean, now, sooner or later, your daughter will be a content creator in her spare time. And that's great. It's great that for you to share your passion with your children about collecting sneakers, sports, Michael Jordan. And also too, like I also learned that sometimes they don't like the things that you like, but it's okay that they know about it, rather than say, oh, they're completely doesn't know anything out of the blue. At least they have like a familiarity. And I'm sure your wife too, is she also like a diehard sports fan as well?
She is, but she's from north of the border of Illinois here, so she's a huge Wisconsin sports fan.
Okay.
So huge Green Bay Packers fan, huge Brewers fan. I would have to say I converted her to a Bulls fan,
okay,
because she moved here before Giannis, started, making basketball popular in Milwaukee. So
nice.
We had season tickets for a few years when we first started living together with the Bulls. So we went to a lot of games in that era, the Derrick Rose era. And
nice.
But she's into it. My kids, like you were saying, they love sports. They kind of like, I don't try to force anything onto them. I try to make sure that they have cool sneakers every once in a while, but they trash them, and they're little girls. Like they want pink frilly things sometimes, It's just like, just go ahead, just do what you want to do.
Exactly.
That's more important than anything, is like, I'll probably get to it when we start talking about collectibles, but like
Yeah.
I kind of lost my way getting into high school and through college, and
Hmm.
sold a lot of things that I had that were cooler when I was younger and making up for it now. And it's just like the absolute worst time as far as pricing. It's like,
Hmm.
should have just stayed true to myself and kept going being a sports nerd. And that's kind of like what I want to teach my daughters is like, whatever you're into, just don't change. Just roll with it, be it, own it.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Mark. All right. So next question for you. So we touched a little bit about sports, regarding you and your wife, who you guys root for. So, you said that you are a diehard Chicago sports fan. So rank in order your most favorite and respected sports and which sports teams. Yeah. So I'll let you start off with that first question first.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I would have to say number one and two are the Bulls and the Blackhawks.
Okay.
Those I grew up going to, games all the time at the old Chicago Stadium. It was, especially for the Bulls, I was very, 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 very fortunate to go to a lot of games in my childhood. My mom worked in the trading industry.
Nice.
She had a lot of people she worked with who had season tickets, access to season tickets, and I don't think we ever paid for a Bulls game growing up
Wow.
because my mom just knew the right people, and it was pretty crazy. I got to sit on the floor a few times at the old Chicago Stadium and the United Center, and it was amazing. I wish I was only like 7, 8, 9 years old at that time, so I really didn't probably take it in as much as I should have. Like maybe I would say I took it for granted a little bit because I was so fortunate and I got to go so often. But the thing I could say about the Bulls games and the Chicago Stadium is like that place literally shook, and everybody was on top of each other. Like when Michael Jordan was out there during the intros, like people are like, oh, the United Center gets nuts. The United Center does not get anywhere near like what the Chicago Stadium was. It was just like, yeah, it was, the Chicago Stadium could fit inside the United Center. That's how tight and small it was. And yeah, it was just an amazing place to see games. And a lot of that has to do, goes along too, like with the Blackhawks, being a big Blackhawks fan. Got to go to a lot of games there as well. And the cheering through the national anthem is kind of something like that people like to talk about. It's crazy. It was nuts, like hearing people cheer through the national anthem just at the top of their lungs, and it could be seen as disrespectful. I don't know. I don't know. I just took part in it. When in Rome, just
Yeah, you just do it, right?
roll with it. And
Yeah, roll with it. Yeah.
and yeah, it's a lot of great memories there. But I was also a huge baseball fan growing up as a kid. I'm from the South Side, so grew up as a Sox fan.
Okay.
A huge Frank Thomas fan and Carlton Fisk fan, and just was really hurt at the strike in '94, and like their owner Jerry Reinsdorf, who also owns the Bulls, of course, was a big player in that strike in a season that like this is very reasonable that the White Sox were going to win the World Series. A lot of people say the Expos, but being from Chicago, it was going to be the White Sox. But anyway, after that strike, I switched over and became a Cubs fan, and
Wow.
loved Sammy Sosa. I've been a Cubs fan since, although I'm not really a big fan of their owner. Thanks for the World Series, but you can beat it now. Like, yeah, Sammy Sosa. Still, I'm a Sammy Sosa for the Hall of Fame mental. Like, I don't see any reason him and Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire, for all that they did for the game, shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've had so many like great players, Andre Rison, who else? Kerry Wood, Chris Bryant when he was with the Cubs. So many classic players. And so if I don't mind asking, like, what was it like from switching from one team to the other? Did you get like backlash from your like classmates and friends from switching from one side to the other?
Yeah, my friends, mostly, they're still big White Sox fans, and like I've kind of like grown to just like not care. It's like I'm like I like baseball. I'll go watch either team. I love going to any park and watching a game. And but like I remember times in college where we'd get very heated arguments. Pretty sure there were some beer bottles thrown and
Oh my gosh.
over stupid baseball game. And
Over
like,
interleague, you get, especially when they play the interleague series, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it was just ridiculous the way like we took it. Now it's like we kind of like joke about it now, back and forth. I'm like, what kind of idiots were we?
So like back to the Bulls, since you were fortunate to be in both stadiums, what was like what was your favorite memory from each stadium? Like if you can pick one that stands out, even if you were a kid or now as an adult, what was like one memory that stood out for you for each stadium?
I mean, I wasn't there, but man, I'd have to say it's the Michael Jordan's switch hand layup.
Wow.
Like that at at the Chicago Stadium was nuts. Like I just remember being like, oh my God, and like running out of the house to like try to do it. And
who did it, right?
Yeah, I just like ran out of the house. And yeah, that was pretty nuts. Now I'm like, yeah, that was something else. The United Center, what was really cool, I always like kind of gets lost with United Center, is that Dennis Rodman, that first in the 96 season, the 72 win season, he gave away his jersey after every game at the United Center. And I don't feel like that gets talked about enough. And it's just something really cool. Like, every kid dreams of like getting a game used jersey, and think like Dennis Rodman, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest rebounders, defenders of all time. Just every game I'm giving away my jersey, and it's like, I thought that was really cool. But it's so hard, like thinking of like, I just had so many good memories of being in both stadiums, and it more than anything was just like cheering like crazy and just the excitement. And I can't say I've been to an NBA game in a lot of places, but I just can't see anywhere living up to the atmosphere of either of those places. Just the Bulls, they do a really good job of keeping fans engaged, during timeouts. Like the music is nuts. Like there's always something going on. Like Benny the Bull, like man, that guy, he's everything to me. Like he's excitement, and just running around. I just have a lot of good memories of all those. Just being there, taking it all in, and having fun when I was doing it. I can remember one story at the Chicago Stadium. My dad was with me. My dad took me once. One of my mom got us tickets, and we were sitting in, like I was just cheering like crazy. Like, they have like the thing where you could break the scoreboard if you, cheer loud enough. And like as like a 7-8-year-old, I thought that was real. And some lady like sitting near us told me, asked me if I could like be quiet. And my dad was like, hey, why don't you shut up? And if you know my dad, he's like the nicest, calmest guy and never gets mad at anything. And I was just like, wow, Dad, I can't believe you did that. And he's like, you're just there having fun. Who cares about like
exactly
what are they doing there?
That's that parent defense mechanism. We all have it, right? Somebody like looks at your kid differently, you start defending them. So I get it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Those are some of my good memories. I actually have here's one I'm embarrassed of from the United Center. There's a personal story for me. So as Jordan 95 returned, still wearing 45, and they're playing the Pistons. And my favorite player, after Michael Jordan retired, was Grant Hill. And I was Grant Hill everything.
Yeah.
But I was like, Mom, I don't know who you have to talk to. I don't know like what you have to say. You got to get tickets when the Pistons come and Michael Jordan's playing. Like, you got to. And she did. Mom came in clutch.
Yeah.
Floor seats.
Wow.
So, yeah. But I'm a dope. Like, and I wore all my Grant Hill Pistons stuff to a Bulls game.
I don't blame you, because like, when Jordan stepped away, right? And I remember Grant Hill was supposed to be the anointed, next MJ because, he won a national championship and he had all, multiple like rookie of the year, all-star, this and that. Um, and I get it. Like he was he was fun to watch, but like injuries just derailed his career.
Yeah.
So I get why like you're from Chicago, but you had the guts to wear a whole like Detroit Pistons. I'm sure you had like the champion jersey, the
I did.
Filas, the
I
Grant Hill.
did.
Yeah,
I
it's
did.
all right. I do the same thing too. If it was like a player that I mean Michael Jordan though. I mean you pick Grant Hill over Michael Jordan. That's definitely that's a first. I've never heard anybody like pick someone that you idolize versus like the GOAT, which is insane. But
Yeah. I think like at that point, it was kind of like, I don't know, like we kind of just become accustomed to Michael Jordan. It was almost like we felt like, well, he's never gonna leave. You know what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I'm just gonna, just go with my guy right now. And it's funny, I got pictures from that game too. Like I got both of them, on the
Nice.
floor, like before the game, like warm ups and stuff. They're a little blurry, but I don't care. Like they're still cool.
Yeah,
to
of
have.
course.
I love looking at them. And
yeah.
Grant Hill told me, pregame, he's like, "I'll get you after the game." He never showed up, but hey, Grant, if you watch this by some chance, I'll take an autographed card or something.
Definitely. It's funny. I actually funny story too about Grant Hill. His dad was played for the Cowboys, right? Calvin Hill.
Yep.
So my wife I was going to California. I was living in Maryland, and I was me and my wife were like long distance because we were like long distance relationship. So I had a stopover in Fort Worth, Texas, and the airport in Virginia, because that's where Grant Hill's from, Virginia, right? That's where he's from Reston. So I was like the very last people, like, because I was running late to the airport, got checked in. So this is crazy. Like I had the emergency seat where like where like the door something in case of like emergency. Um, I had the worst seat ever, but I sat next to Calvin Hill, and we were just talking like football and like his son, and he was telling about, yeah, I wish my son was healthy. He would have been like top 3, top 5 in NBA. And then just hearing from him, like he was so proud of his son, and you know, um, I was just like just listening to him, just talking, and I didn't want to be that fanboy and ask for a picture, but it was just one of those things where like, damn, like I would never imagine like you would sit next to like the dad of an NBA like player, which is insane. So that's why I was like, yeah, I see why you like Grant Hill. And I see, he's actually he's a good, role model for kids back then. And like I said, he's just like Penny Hardaway, like injuries just kind of just messed his whole career up, because it could have been like what could have been if he stayed with Detroit, or if he flourished with Orlando with Tracy McGrady. So
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah. It's funny you brought up, being like the next Jordan. I was going through some of my like Grant Hill bins, and found a Slam magazine, and the cover said, he's on the cover picture of him. It says Grant Hill, the next Jordan. And I'm like, ooh, like I forgot about that one. Forgot I had that. It's the only one. The only one I saved. I had all like the first probably, I don't know, like 25 of them as a kid. And again, just like took it for granted. Like, everybody's got these laying around.
I'm sure they're around. All right, Mark. So next question for you. So aside from sneakers, we'll get into sneakers later. You collect a wide variety of Chicago sports apparel and memorabilia. So what items are your most treasured and sentimental to you?
These hats right here.
Okay.
So yeah, this is again, this is something I had when I was younger, got rid of, and then about 10 years ago I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start acquiring those again. And I was lucky, I finished it up shortly before The Last Dance when Memorabilia just went
Shut
insane.
up. Yeah.
I didn't pay more than $30 for any one of the 6 that I have.
Wow.
And a couple of them are dead stock. Like my 3-peat one is dead stock, and I was like, that's like $150, $200 hat now. I'm like, that's crazy. I paid like $30
Yeah.
$30
So
for that, like
those
a
are
year
like
ago.
those are like the starter hats, right? And then logo athletic hats that they had with the wool twill.
Yeah, the twill, and it's got
Yep.
the cheap little patch. Like, it's like kids now would be like, oh, that's a bootleg. It's like, no, this
No.
was the real thing back
They,
then.
know
Like,
what's funny, right, Mark? Because Mitchell and Ness, they do a lot of the vintage nostalgia stuff.
yeah,
So I compare to like people, Mitchell and Ness stuff. It's not the same thing,
no,
you know. I mean, especially like if for us, we were fortunate to live in that era where we saw Jordan wearing in the locker room and with champagne and the parades and stuff. There's no better feeling like seeing and owning like the real deal, right? Like you with the green brim, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Come on, that's like a dead giveaway for like a vintage, championship cap.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've seen like Mitchell and Ness just recently just redid all of these, and it's just like, man, it's like it's not even close. Like
No.
it's and like you're saying, like, and that leads me to like my next thing is like I got my champion
Yep.
warm-up jacket on, and wherever the pat, there it is.
Yeah.
And
champion.
so honestly, like I just bought this like 2 years ago, and this
Yeah.
is one of my favorite things. Like I love it. It's
Yep.
got the pants too, so I got the whole getup.
I
But
was
I
so
had
hyped.
before I got this, I had a Mitchell and Ness jacket, the same white one,
Mm-hmm.
and I did like a side by side on my like Instagram one time, and I was like, it is like
It's
they,
different.
like it's not like they had like mesh inside. This one's got cotton, inside, just like different zipper. It's it's they try hard. But when they say like, oh, they're like so close, it's like they're not close, not at all. Like, and yeah, just like I don't have like a lane with anything. I just kind of like I see things and I'm like, that's something I need to own. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of how I go. Like I don't like I'm trying to like get more into like the Salem shirts, like you said, like the caricature shirts.
Yeah.
And I just got, again, I had all the championship ones at one point, and I just bought my first one back. I just got a dead stock one of the first championship, and it was $60, and I was like, that is a steal. Like
Yeah,
that, people pay that for used ones with stains on them.
Yep.
Like I grabbed that, and like I think like you're talking about prices on things like that. Pretty much anything like for me is like $60 to $80 is my max.
Okay.
Like the way I look at it, like I'm kind of like now I'm like, well, now it's kind of an investment, seeing that how prices have gone.
Mm-hmm.
Now the people that are buying them up are people that are going to keep them. So you're going to be seeing less and less of them up for sale as time goes on.
Yep.
Where it used to be like people just like, I'm just getting rid of junk, here it is, buy it. And now it's like people are like, I'm buying these, I'm keeping them, and I'm not selling them ever again. And if I do, it's not going to be for a long time.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I've come, to acquire them. I kind of look at it as like an investment. Like, my parents aren't leaving me anything except debt. I want to leave my kids some cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Especially when you're teaching your daughters about, the sports that you love, the teams that you cheer for. And maybe down the road when they have their own family, you'll be a grandpa, you pass it on to, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a family like piece that you're passing on to your, like it'll go like legacy to legacy. Because like those things, like I think people undervalue like vintage apparel. And now it's like the hottest thing right now. Like people buy like bootleg shirts with like that's overpriced. But like you were saying, like you have your own lane, which is like straight Chicago Bulls, Chicago sports, 90s NBA, early 2000s NBA stuff. And I know that me and you talk on the sneaker history, and we'll talk more about that too. Like we just talk about like apparel, like, hey, like I'm looking for this and that, and I think I bought this. I think I might keep it, kind of thing. And you're like, hey, what do you think I should do, kind of thing. So like for me, like when I hear those things, it brings me like nostalgia. Like, man, you should just keep it, because when are you gonna ever come across like you just picked up a Lakers warm up jacket, right?
I
So
did.
and
It's
then you're
beautiful.
yeah. So like you're asking like what
Beautiful.
shoes am I gonna wear? I've said don't even worry about the sneakers, just keep it. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
eventually, yeah, you wear with something that Converse weapons, when they retro again, you know what I mean? Or yeah, or like an Adidas Kobe, or a Shaq Gnosis, or you know what I mean? Like there's so many
Yeah.
things that you can pattern, but it'll feel weird. You're wearing like a Concord 11 with a Laker warm up. You know what I mean? I think I think Kobe was the only one that pulled that off, along with like some other NBA players. But like for me, like I kind of like putting piecing together where like that generation, or that certain player, oh, he wore these sneakers during that era, kind of thing.
Yeah.
No offense to like mixing and matching, but that's just me, like being true to a core kind of thing. So like I said, people roll differently, but that's just me, like how I see things when I'm putting stuff together.
No, I completely agree. Like I like have been a nerd about like athletic aesthetics, as I call it.
Yep.
And like time period appropriateness. Like
Yep.
I'm like, well, they didn't, like with these Funkos that they do for Jordan. It's like they came out with one recently, and he has
Yeah.
cool grays on with the black jersey. I'm like, you never wear cool grays with the Bulls, like
Yeah,
let alone a
exactly.
black jersey. Like
Yeah.
why are you putting this out? Like I know what you're saying.
Yep.
I'm kind of nuts like that myself.
Yeah.
Like I will dive into pictures,
Yeah.
deep into pictures, and look for things and try to figure out what the story is. And that's
Exactly.
a problem I have with that's a problem I have with like Jordan Brand, with some of their storytelling. It's so loose, and it's like it doesn't make any sense. Like I was thinking about like I'll get off this tangent after this one.
No.
The double nickel 10s with the 45 on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when he had that double nickel against the Knicks, he didn't have that 45 on the side. He had the regular. He didn't have the PE version. So it's like, why is it nicknamed the double nickel? Like that doesn't even make any sense for the shoe. And like things like that drive me wild. Like people calling the playoff sevens Raptors.
Right. We're talking about that. That grinds my gears, man.
Oh man, that one
it's a generational lingo thing, man.
Yep. Yeah. Like the Raptors weren't even in anybody's mind. I don't even think, did Jurassic Park come out yet? I don't think Jurassic Park came out until '94.
It's funny, Mark. I have my homie Julian. We were talking about this. He was in my previous podcast, and he's a Jordan collector, like both of us. And he hates the name. He hates nicknames. Raptors and playoffs. But what he told me about, like he said he told me, you know what I call the black and red sevens? Playoff sevens, because that's what he wore in the playoffs, which makes sense. So it's playoff sevens. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, it's Raptor sevens because there's purple in it. It's playoff sevens,
right?
Playoff eights. He wore playoff eights,
right?
Bugs Bunny eights, because he wore it in the the Nike Jordan commercials. That's what you put hair sevens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Infrared, so on and so forth. Playoff sixes, before they were called infrared six, there were playoff sixes, playoff 13s, so on and so forth. Like I said, like I guess for our generation, in the 80s, early 90s, like that's what we were exposed to. And I hate to be like that Debbie Downer, like, oh, you're just like ruining like the lingo of like what we call sneakers. I don't want to be that person, but I'm just letting you know how we view things. You know what I mean? Because I get it. Like when we were like having that little rant, like, dude, why are you even calling a Raptor 7? Like, the team wasn't even founded until like 1995, and Jordan was like shitting on. I think they got beat with part of the 72-10. I know it was like that away game that they did. So that's pretty much it. That's just my opinion.
No, I I try not to like go crazy about it, and like
Mhm.
I don't want anybody saying like, oh, you're just an old man, yelling at the
Yeah,
clouds. Like,
get off my lawn.
yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like
Mhm.
that's my thing. It's like if you're gonna come up with something, make it make sense.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's don't just reach for something.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yep. Yep. So we're gonna be off our our little soapbox now with me and Mark
Yeah.
hopping off, giving us some gas. All right.
Should
So
we
next.
explain to the kids what a soapbox is and getting off and
Oh
on
God.
of it?
Yeah. Don't talk about like a PF flyer. Don't
Yeah.
get me started. There's a movie that had a PF flyer too. So
Yep.
all right.
Yep.
So next question for you, Mark. So aside from your collecting, what items are you still looking forward to add to your collection?
I kind of mentioned it before, but like I said, the Salem shirts. I love those
Mhm.
caricature shirts. I got to finish up the championship shirts for the Bulls. I guess there's only 1, 2, and 3 were Salem, and then
Mhm.
I think it was starter or pro pit player for last 3. But I mean that's now I'm getting too far into specifics, so we don't have to worry
Yeah.
about that. But like really, like I have some other Salem shirts. Like I've got Jordan, Dream Team, couple.
Nice.
And I just really love those like big, bold, prints with the
Mhm.
giant heads. Like they're just so fun. Like
Yeah.
it just really brings me back to the like late 80s, early 90s. Like
Yep.
everybody wore those. Everybody had those. And like I want to know where like I know I have family members who like are holding out on me. Like
Yeah.
that have those. And I just want to go like I don't want to dig through people's garbage and look.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Like I wish I had the time and could do that. I'd love to be like like an American Pickers type
Yeah.
guy looking for 80s, 90s memorabilia. Know it's out there.
I know that show is actually addicting. Matter of fact, just picking
Yeah.
random stuff.
Oh yeah. I like my wife gets mad at me. She's like I could go to hours at like
Yeah.
a garage sale or the thrift store. Like I wish I did it more when I was younger. Like I've got
Yeah.
a few things here and there, and that's just
Mhm.
like I don't have like I have a ton of like random things in my
Mhm.
collection. I don't have like a bunch of like one thing. Like
Mhm.
like I said earlier, I kind of just like to see things as they come and be like, hey, that's really cool. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
should buy that. Yeah, I'll pull one out right now. Like something.
Yeah.
This silly thing right here. A
Like
Be Like
Mike.
Mike. Oh,
Oh my! The cassette and
cassette.
wow, brand
Cassette
new.
wrapped up. Techno is the name of the
Techno.
group who
Yep.
did I Want to Be Like Mike. Like,
Yeah.
this
It
is so
has
cool. It's like
it has the short version, the short commercial version, the extended version that's like 5 minutes long. And isn't there an instrumental too, Mark?
this one just has 2 is the radio mix and the
Okay.
original version.
There you go.
And this
Yeah.
is funny because it's in cooperation with Quaker Oats / Gatorade. That's pretty funny.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
see there, but it's pretty funny. Like it's just
Man.
like I was on eBay one day and I was
Yeah.
just like I was probably looking for Gatorade Jordan 1s. And
Okay.
like that popped up and I was like, $8 sealed. No, that's not buying that.
Wow.
Like
You gotta put that on the case, Mark. Like,
oh, I want to see if I can get
Yeah.
it graded. Like, cause like I know
you're
VHS
gonna PSA it.
yeah, like what man? Oh man, that's one thing. Like last year I bought a bunch of VHS, Michael Jordan VHSs
Yeah.
sealed, and I sold a bunch because
Mhm.
people were paying stupid money for
Okay.
VHSs, like sealed VHSs, and like
Wow.
I got lucky because now they're not worth it nearly as much. Some of them, the ones that I sold. So, but
So
it
you
was,
think like the value went down with the VH type of I guess during the time with the Last Dance, right?
yeah. So like it kind of like it's still like sealed VHSs, not so much Michael Jordan ones
Yeah.
as much as they were because like people are finally starting to dig them out and be like everybody's putting them on eBay.
Yeah.
But like VHS grading is a real thing now, and like I just saw like there's a original Star Wars VHS going up for auction coming soon for expected to fetch $60,000 for sealed Star Wars VHS.
That's insane.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. like everything's going insane. It's like that's why I'm like,
You're
if I
digging
see
through
something,
your house and just like seeing what's valuable, what's valuable and what
oh
you know.
man,
Yeah.
yeah, I wish I'd have known about this wave 20 years ago before I got rid of everything.
Yeah. That's how it is, man. Like that's the cycle of life.
Yeah,
You
it
you
happens.
people won't believe you, but like you have the memories in your brain. Like yeah, I
Yep,
used to own that. I used to have that.
yep, exactly.
All right, so we're gonna get to the good part, Mark. You are so we're talking about Chicago, we're talking about sports, Jordan, Bulls. So now we're heading into the sneakers. So you're a Jordan collector, apparel, sneakers. So what was the first sneaker that started off for you? Collecting as I guess as a youth, or when you start collecting now as an adult.
I can't remember like the first sneaker that I was like, oh my God, like I love sneakers.
Hmm.
I think it was subconsciously planted in my brain. Because actually I've got one of those right here. You've seen this before a bunch of times, but like
Yeah.
my dad's
Whew.
original Jordan
Neutral
1s.
grays.
Yeah. So like I mean
Oh
these are
my
these.
God.
Look at these. Like my dad wore these everywhere to do everything.
Wow.
But like so I think subconsciously that's where it began. I remember the first pair I really wanted though was the black and red Jordan 4.
Nice.
And went to get shoes at the mall with my mom, and then she took me to the shoe store my cousin was working at. I think it was a Buster Brown.
Hmm.
It's like late 80s obviously, and she talked my mom into buying me some LA gear instead, and I was like, come on, like it's going back on it. And I was like, I asked my cousin about this actually just like maybe like a month ago, and she's like, I was like, you were just getting a commission on that, weren't you? Like that's why you pushed my mom towards those LA gears. She's like, yeah, probably. I'm like, thanks. Like, but anyway, like the first Jordan I got was this the
Wow, the metallic fives.
metallic fives. That was the
Nice.
first one, that the first Jordan I ever got. And they fell apart. And my dad got off Nike train for a long time. I was playing at Reebok, as they said, like in the early 90s. Like
Okay.
after that, I was all Reebok everything. And but I loved everything. Like a lot of kids, when like their mom would say like, you're going shopping with me, would be like, no, I'm not going shopping with you. I loved it. I'd go to the mall. I go to Marshall's, TJ Maxx, and just scour the shoe walls.
Yeah.
Like there was like, man, it was crazy. Like I think about the things I saw at like Marshalls and TJ Maxx
Yeah.
back in like the early and mid 90s,
Yeah.
and it blows my mind. Like stuff that people are lusting after now. I'm like, oh my God, those were like $10-15 back then. It was crazy. I loved going shopping with my mom, and every once in a while, I'd talk her into buying me something silly, and like it's how I got like my first and only pair of like ASIC gel lights. And like I like still like remember how comfortable they are. I'm like, how have I not bought another pair of those like in my whole life since then? Like they were great. I loved them, but like I just loved everything. Like the 90s were a wild time. Like I'm such an old man like about it. Like I've got like I love Fila's. Like people forget like how big Fila was in the mid 90s. Like I was I was talking to the sneaker savant, and like actually in like 1996 with the Grant Hill 2, Fila jumped over Adidas and Reebok to be the number 2 in the basketball market.
Yep.
Behind Nike. Fila, like what?
Yeah.
Like and another like and it's crazy like how big the Grant Hill 1 and the Grant Hill 2 are. Like Grant Hill 2 like is obviously like iconic, with Tupac, but and Grant Hill of course, but like that one was the best selling debut signature model behind the Jordan 1. Only the Jordan 1 ever did better than Grant Hill shoe. It's crazy. Like he was like he was a vibe. If we were
Yeah.
saying that back then, he was
Yeah.
he was a vibe. Like that's big stuff. But like, yeah, I wore everything in the '90s. Like I kind of gotten into like the you know, all Jordans these days. But like I got a pair of the Stilo ones, the Grand Hill ones,
Yeah.
Grand Hill twos. I've got some Shaq Gnosis. I told you earlier, they were supposed to be here today. I was hoping they'd be here for this. I got a pair of the Shaq Attacks, the Orlando white pair. And I'm looking forward to that retro that Shaq Tees said coming this year again.
Yeah.
So I look to get another pair of those. But like, yeah, it just went nuts. And then like I remember, like for whatever reason, 1997 is like when it just really got crazy for me. Like that year I bought my first pair. Oh, actually no, that's right. I got the cherry red. I shouldn't call them cherry red. The white and red 12.
Okay.
I still have those. My OG pair.
Wow.
I love those. That pair, probably one of my favorite shoes of all time. Looking forward to the playoff 12s this year, but still waiting for those white and reds to come again. And then like just shortly after that, this one was this. You've seen these before too, I think. My original
97 Foamposites.
97 Foamposites. Oh yeah. And
Wow.
that crazy laces I put in them.
No, shoot. Show them the soles, Marc.
Oh, they're bad.
Wow.
I wore these.
Man. So let me ask you about those, Marc. So what got you, what caught your attention? Was it Penny in the playoffs, or was it Mike Bibby in the NCAA tournament?
You know, I liked Penny, I liked Bibby, but like more than anything, it was just the shoe. Like I just thought it was like the wildest thing I had ever seen. And like at that point in my life, I was like, I just want wild things. And like that was it. Like, and it's like now it's like, you know, it's got that iconic status, the Royal Foams. It's like back then, I took so much crap for wearing those. People are like, those are ugly. Look at those space shoes. And like, and then like people are like, oh, your family's rich. It's like, no, my family just spends money poorly. And you know, like, you know, that's why like I remember like how I got those. It was actually I graduated 8th grade in 1997. I was like, parents were like, what do you want as a gift? I was like, all I want is those. Like I never asked for shoes as a gift. Like that is it. Like please. And they're $180. Like most expensive shoe.
That was
ever.
the most expensive shoe during that time. More than Jordans, right? This is insane.
More than Jordans. And yeah, and they got them, and I wore them everywhere, did everything in them. And yeah, those are my favorite non-Jordans of all time. Like there's not even doubt. Like that's my favorite shoe. It's crazy. Here's a funny story because you're a wrestling guy.
Yeah.
So I got those on like the day of my graduation party from 8th grade. But that morning I found out there was going to be an appearance by a wrestler at the local furniture store. So I grabbed my buddy before my graduation party, and that guy was Rickslayer.
What?
Yes. I should have pulled out that autograph picture. It's such a bad picture. You'd probably, like most people would be like, that's fake. And I'm like, I don't care. I got it. My friend was with me, you know, and like, cause it was like a printout on which like a regular piece of like computer paper of like a promotional Ric Flair photo. And like, oh man. But yeah, that was just a little side note, little fun story.
Wow.
Yeah. But
that's
no, those shoes, like that's it for me. Like,
man, those foam, you know what, those foams, Marc, a lot of people don't know. And you know, we both live in the, you know, mid-Atlantic, you live in the Midwest. Foamposites are also good for the winter. You know, those kept your feet warm. Those were good. Snow, sleet, rain, summertime. And you know, the things about foams, and people don't know about them because most of them don't own them. They mold perfectly to your feet. Once you get that 3rd, 4th, 5th pair, it hugs your feet, doesn't it, Marc? Because how it molds your feet. That's why it's a foamposite. It foams around your feet, and that's why that sturdy foamposite layer of the outside and that booty, that little mesh booty on the inside, it's just perfect, man.
Yeah, I love them, and it's funny you say that because actually I had back like the next year I had the Foamposite Max,
Oh,
the
the
Tim
Duncans.
Duncans,
Yeah.
and I used to go out and shovel snow in those. Like people would be like, "You're crazy, that's a $200 shoe." I'm like, I was the winter in the Midwest, and
Yeah.
it shoes to take anything,
Yeah.
and I gave those
Did you have the silver ones or the black ones?
the silver.
Oh my God.
And like 12 years ago, when I was moving into like my first apartment with my wife,
Hmm.
like I was just clearing out stuff, and I ended up donating those to like the mission.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hope that guy sold them.
Yeah.
I hope he like whoever got those at the mission sold them, because I should have, or just kept
Yeah.
them. I would rather kept them actually.
Yeah. Well, guess what, Mark? Those Foamposite Max, they're rumored to be retro this year. They were supposed to come out last year, but because of
Yep.
COVID, shout out to the homie that let me know about inside information. But yeah, they will be coming out this year, and they will be 250 or
Yeah.
maybe 260 because of the inflation of price. And yeah, I'm excited. I don't care. That's a nostalgic shoot sneaker for me. I've always wanted them since they came out in '98. I had the retro in 2011. I foolishly sold them because I don't know why, just like any other person that regrets selling their sneakers.
We
But
all do it.
I'm waiting for them to come back. And I'm sure you're gonna be
Yeah,
copping a
I'll take
pair.
Dandon and I will take all of the entries if nobody else
Yeah,
wants to pay that
exactly.
$250 or
There you go. There you go. All right,
yeah, no,
Mark.
those are a must cop, that's for sure.
Man, that brings a smile in my heart, Mark, because not only like Jordans, you like foam pauses, and I love foam pauses. That's not many in our Discord doesn't like foam pauses. So we'll just, before the last question, if you want to just tell us more about like the sneaker history Discord, because shout out to I call them the Four Horsemen. I call shout out to Nick, Mike, Robbie, and Rowit. Those were the guys that hold it down. So tell us about the Discord. Like what piqued your interest. Tell us more about like what it's all about.
I just like interacting with everybody. It's a really good time. There's channels for every kind of interest you could think of. It's not just sneakers. It's mostly sneakers, of course, but it's not just that. I just feel like I'm the kind of person is like I'm not great like with like groups of people,
Mm-hmm.
and in like real life, like I get like I'm not shy. Once you get me going, I'm going. Like you probably noticed that today. I
There you
keep
go.
going. I've got
Yeah.
anecdotes for everything.
Yeah.
But it's I kind of start backing away after a while when I'm in like large groups. I'm like I'll start off hot, and then I was like, I'm kind of tired, and like I've never felt that way
Mm-hmm.
with the Discord, and there's always connection with some people, like you and I like to talk about the vintage stuff, the gear, and I didn't give you a shout out earlier. Shout out on the shooting shirt. Love that shooting shirt.
Thank you.
And but yeah, it's just something for everybody. Like everybody's great. I haven't come across a bad person in there, and everybody's trying to help each other out. That's what I like. Nobody's it's not a contest. We're all I'm not using that cheesy catchphrase that all those companies used last year. We're not all in this together.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like you were saying, like it's a great community. It's free, guys. They're we follow them. Find them on Instagram, also on the Discord, and also on Twitter. They also got a great podcast, YouTube. So definitely give them a listen, subscribe. They got great guests. And then we all share like a passion, right? It's just like sneakers, because we work our 9 to 5s. We have our family. We have everything that's going on. It's kind of like, for me, it's like it's an escape, right, from like what I go through on a daily basis. I do my work thing, my family thing. This is just like my fun thing to do on the side, kind of, you know what I mean? Like just like looking like everybody just chatting and just, you know, just having a good time pretty much.
Yeah, I'm pretty probably in there way too much. I'm way too active. I just you know, my goal always is in there is like a lot of times things get a little too serious. I like to provide a little bit of levity and,
Yeah,
you know, goof around and, you know, like
exactly.
every once in a while, you know, kind of get into it with somebody, and but it's
You know
always been
what?
good
It's
fun.
okay. It's
Yeah, it's
okay.
like, you know, if we all agreed on shoes, it'd be a really boring place,
Hell
wouldn't it? You
no.
know,
Yeah.
like
It's okay. You know, I forgot who I told that. Yeah, I said I think it was like Dalton. I said I don't like Vans. And he's like, "What?" Yeah, I don't like and he's like, "What? You're not like I think it was like one of those top 10 like sneakers that you hate. I said, I don't like Vans. I don't like half cabs. Like I love half cabs. I said, I don't
yeah,
like them. I
yeah,
mean, I'm not gonna say anything bad about your half cab, but you know, I personally, you won't see me wear a pair of Vans. You know what I mean? That's just me. Like I maybe have worn like Vans a couple times. Like they're to me they're okay. I rather wear Chucks.
yeah.
But yeah.
I'd agree with that. I tried to get him going the other day, and he asked like, "What's your guilty pleasure shoe?" And I was like, "My $30 DSW checkered Vans slip-ons," because he hates slip-ons. And I was like, "Oh," didn't
Yeah.
even respond to it. I thought I'd get something out of him, but that is
Nah,
a guilty pleasure. That
it's
is a
all
guilty pleasure pair of mine. Like that's the
yeah,
picking up kids from school some days. It's like
exactly.
I'll just throw these on and I'm gone. Like
Yeah. And you know, some people don't like Crocs. I wear Crocs, pick up my kid after, you know, to school, pick up, you know, drop them off. It's
yeah,
comfortable, like, you know,
I get the appeal. They're not for me, but I get the appeal.
that's what I'm saying. Eventually, Mark, you know, if you come across if your curiosity, you know, wants to try one on, yeah, it's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you can't just rely on you know, sandals, flip flops. You gotta be in straight dad mode. That's a
yeah,
dad mode shoot. You know, footwear, in my opinion.
absolutely.
All right, Mark. So we're gonna get to the last question. So this is the great part. So show us your top 5 sneakers that you have in your collection.
Well, I showed you three.
Okay.
Showed you. Well, actually, I'll show this one. This is
Yeah.
that's the retro of the neutral gray.
Wow.
I actually have two pairs of these. Um, so my dad's account was actually the sneakers account that hit on them the first time. I couldn't believe I actually got a pair of them for retail. And then last year, I was like, you know what? I want a pair of these to stock. And I bit the bullet and I found a decent price on eBay, way cheaper than StockX still.
Hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to double up on these just because there's a lot of sentimental value. So those are one. And I love all things Dream Team.
Yes.
So I don't even like the sevens, but these like just hit right. Like the first time I saw them, like I remember I saw them and I was like, what? Like it
Yeah.
has this Olympic number on there. That was like the first selling point
Yeah.
because like, you know, I said I was like in that like athletic aesthetics, like
Yeah.
just like tees. Like this was like the first time I like really realized something like that. And I thought that was like such a great touch. And fell in love with these. I finally bought a pair last year. I bought these
Man.
used and like they're perfect.
Yeah.
Like I wore these a lot last summer,
Yeah.
and now with the 30th anniversary of the Dream Team, I'm gonna be wearing them a lot this summer too. So I'm gonna get
Exactly.
my money. I'm gonna get my money's worth out of those.
That's a fourth and that's like a great 4th of July sneaker. I remember like back
Oh
in my
yeah,
area. People just wear
definitely.
you know, USA stuff and then Olympic sevens.
Yep. And this last pair, this is one of my favorite pairs. And you know, I gotta give a shout out to my wife for enabling me. I can't lie, she's bought me some pretty dope pairs over the years. She got me a pair of the flu games for my first Father's Day, so that was like super dope. She's bought me my only pair of Yeezys, but like these are the coolest pair that she ever bought me. She bought these for one of our like wedding anniversaries, one of our first ones when we actually used to do expensive gifts, and now we're just like that's silly, like you know, do something, you know, like trip or something, or you know, but these Lance Mountain
Ooh.
ones, like these are so dope. Like easily like my coolest pair. Like I have some newer collaborations, but like
Man.
like last year, like they still had the paint on them, and I was like,
Yeah.
they just look silly with paint on. Like, see people wearing them, and it's like they're trying not to scuff them. I'm like, that's not what they're meant for. So like, I hit up Mario and Barry,
Yeah.
and I was like, ask them, like some tips on like how to remove the paint without like just totally stripping it all off. I don't want these to look like one royal shoot, one royal,
Yeah.
and one bread. And they told me how to do it, and I think they turned out awesome.
Those are,
like,
you know what makes them pop, Mark, is that you have those like those laces too.
yeah,
And it looks like it's like a tie-dye shoe, right? Not like a J Balvin. It's like a sneaker that you just put it in red and blue dye, and then you
Yeah.
just throw in some laces. It's dope. I like them because
Yeah.
they're unique.
yeah, like, and like, I mean, I like skateboarding, like, but I didn't know much about Lance Mountain. I just like the first
Yeah.
time I saw these, I was like, oh my god, I have to have those. And my wife remembered that somehow, and she bought me a pair.
Wow.
I think she said she got them on Flight Club when she did.
Ooh.
That's how, shows how long ago she got them.
Wow.
And but like what hurt me though is recently she told me, she's like, yeah, it was between those and the Yeezys, the red Yeezys. And I was like,
Oh my God, the
was
Red
like,
Octobers.
yeah, it was like from a financial standpoint, 5 years ago, like that was a big mistake. Like
Yeah.
like those Red Octobers are ridiculous now. Like I could have bought 20 pairs of these.
That's like 2 mortgage payments now, right? Well, yeah, 2 mortgage payments
Yeah.
at that time, and then you
Yeah.
can pay, and then like a car payment on the side too.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a huge Yeezy guy, like, but if I could get a pair for a good price,
Yeah,
I would have,
yeah.
like, but no, not anymore. Now it's not a
Of
chance.
course.
Yeah, but no, I'm super happy with these. I love those. Like these, I do wear, pretty regularly. Those Yeezys, like you said, I'd be selling them and buying other things.
Man, that's dope. Yeah, like I said, that's a very unique top 5 collection. Especially what's most important is that it's like you didn't buy it for the hype, is because you wanted them. You've had memories, neutral gray ones when your dad, was wearing them, and that gave you flashbacks. Like, you know what, I'm gonna own a pair too. Foam posit ones, because you thought they were like the coolest sneaker. And then you were sharing the Olympic 7s, and then the last one was the Lance Mountains.
Yeah.
And they're comfortable too, right? Because they had the Zoom Air on the Nike SBs.
Yeah. Like you said, like every one of these shoes, like I had a personal connection with. It wasn't like, oh my God, everybody's got those, I gotta have them. Like,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of those. Like everybody's got a couple of those.
Mhm.
But like, I'm like, these ones are all special to me for
Exactly.
some reason. Like, I have more that are special to me, but these are like, I pulled out, like, these have got to be the most special, the most meaningful.
That's dope. That's dope. Well, Marc, I thank you so much for coming on tonight. So where can they find you on your, if you have like a social media that you want to plug or anything that you want to like shout out?
Yeah. I pretty much only enter contests on Twitter, so I'm no good on there. But on Instagram, I'm at Pappy Power Hour. That's Pappy_power_hour. I post pictures of my sneakers sometimes. Like it's most of my feed, but I like people to know that I'm not just sneakers. So like that's why I don't like just have just a sneakers Instagram account. I'm more than that. I have a family. I have other interests. Sneakers are a big part of who I am, but they're not all I am.
Super dope. Well, thank you so much, Marc, for sharing. I'll probably, talk to you through the sneaker history chat. So big shout out to the sneaker history. Definitely give them a follow. But thank you so much for episode 48 tonight. This is 48 with Marc Papyrzca. Did I get it right?
Yep, nailed it.
All right, guys. You have a good night, guys.